I was told that they have maybe 3 a year, if that many. So it's not a real big part of this operation.
Okay. Um,
And the music is just background.
Yeah.
There's no DJ, no live music.
and there's no outside?
No.
No outside, okay. Okay, um, I don't think I had any other questions. There's no patrons in the cellar. That's it. That was
Correct.
my only, just needed clarity, which looked fine.
I think it's 2 floors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody from the committee have anything on this one? Is there anybody here from the public on this application? Okay.
Next is Lupa.
Okay, wait.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Lupa, same thing. I think it's been operating 1 year less than Babo.
Okay.
Same ownership, same joint venture, a different entity, but the same setup with Star Group and Bastianich remaining on. Everything remains the same. We did appear before BAMRA on this one as well. The hours also are included 12 a.m. closing. And as with Babo, nothing will change. The same name, same operation, same decor. Just will have the Steven Star touch.
Okay. So I'll raise my real question is the sidewalk. It's
So there are what, 3 tables? There are 3 tables on what seems to be what is a raised platform. I've inquired about that. I was told that it was within the property line. I have not gotten anything, and you're shaking your head, and I understand that.
I mean, all the things going
Yeah,
down the whole block.
I've seen it. I
Okay.
understand that. I've asked if they have a survey. We've been through an issue like this before.
Yes,
I haven't seen anything. I haven't gotten anything. All I've been told is that for almost 30 years,
right,
it has
I
been
know.
licensed, no DCA permit. They haven't had it. So
right. So we're asking people to remove it. I'm just saying because
Yeah.
because I think it might have been one of actually your applicants on West 4th Street that had a sunken one that we did the same thing with. Maybe
Oh.
it was.
No, that wasn't what, no, we didn't get rid of that. We kept that. We got rid of the roadway there. We didn't get rid of the
Yeah.
outdoors.
This is not in the deed.
Right.
I mean, it's just not.
I understand what you're saying.
We're not disagreeing about the
Yeah.
past,
With you,
but
right.
and this is a similar, we have what, maybe 5 or 6 places that somehow were allowed under the previous program for outdoor dining, which now.
I understand what you're saying. I don't have a principal here, and I can't do that now.
Okay, so, how do you want to handle it? Because I can tell you that I mean, we can confirm, I can email you after our committee meeting, but we have not approved
Yeah.
any of these in this situation. So especially, and also, well, one, we do not believe, Carter's saying it's not in the deed, so we don't believe it's private property. And then if it's not private property, it's on a raised platform, so it's kind
I
of
think that,
an issue.
well, yes, I mean, do your resolution. You can say you approve it without that, or you disapprove it, or whatever you want to do. I'm going to go back. We'll have
Okay.
to have discussions. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to try to keep it. I don't know if they think they can get a DOT permit if it's required.
Okay,
But
so then,
I can't resolve that here today.
okay, so why don't we just try to, I'll see if there's any questions on the transfer of the restaurant. We'll see if there's any questions on the roadbed. And then we can do our thing like we've
Yeah.
done, and then you can talk to people and figure out what you want to do with that. So is there anybody from here that has any other, the roadbed is closing? Well, then the other thing I would say too is we've been asking, they had no outs, I mean, aside from those 2 seats, we've been asking people to close at 10 o'clock. It's a residential area. There was no seating. So if you could
Okay.
just close at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody from the committee have anything else? No. Okay. Is there anybody here from the public on this? Yes. Okay.
Hi, I'm Mark Fiedler. I'm resident chair of BAMRA. And we did hear a presentation from this application. We voted on it, 6 in favor, one merchant, 5 residents. We drafted a resolution, which I just looked at and see that it's in error because it talks about a new liquor license and not an alteration.
Okay.
I will
It's a-
provide
okay.
corrected.
Transfer, it's a transfer. It is a new liquor,
It
but it's
is a-
still,
it's-
it's still considered a
Okay,
new
fine.
liquor license, so it's
still
fine.
valid.
Yep.
Sorry that I had not emailed this before.
Yep.
Absolutely. And,
And then did you email that to us?
I-
Okay,
actually, I did.
you did. Okay. I mean, I saw a whole listing, so I had you.
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess that's the long and short of it.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? I think we're good. Which one is that one? Sure, because I think you know what the issue
Yes.
is on that one.
Yeah, I do.
Um, Okay, so now what we're taking is Andreas WV LLC doing business as DeAndre at 35 West 13th Street. This is an alteration for a sidewalk and roadway.
Yes, thank you. So there is both roadway and sidewalk seating. The roadway has 12 tables with 24 seats. It has already been conditionally approved by DOT. The sidewalk, and this is on 13th Street, the sidewalk has 5 tables with 10 seats. There is 2.5 feet from the building to the tables, and then 10 feet, I think, to the curb. And you've expressed concerns, I guess, about handicapped and the 10-foot
I mean,
clearance.
so this one, you know, you're 1 inch off from being ADA compliant. So that's my bigger concern with this one is there are not operable doors all on the inside to serve from within. And so I would really like an explanation of, in reality, how the sidewalk is going to work with the perimeter on there for these, for the tables that are past the one that's past the door, because I don't understand how this works. You just have to turn the microphone down, so.
Hi, guys. So, there's accessible tables. Once you go to the doorways, there's tables on the right.
Mhm.
And there's also a 2-top on the left
Mm-hmm.
that can be
Yep.
reserved for the ADA and towards the end one as well.
So how is your wait staff going to get to the far tables from the doorway, those other 3 tables?
So it's basically we're not going too far away. We're taking to the table with literally a couple of inches, dropping the
You're walking
because we have a 2.
9 feet down.
We almost have like a feet to a serve.
How big are your tables?
It's about 18 inches. Some of them are, and some of them are 24 inches.
If it's 24 inches, you have 5 inches to walk down.
But I can turn, I have 18 inches too. I can turn them to the other, those 18 inches.
I'm
if
just,
you guys would
I-
want-
I mean, all DOT rules, I realize they do not require a 3-foot service aisle, but you are putting seating and service in a space that is less than a 3-foot service aisle, which does not seem, I'm just being honest here, this does not seem feasible to me. I know DOT is approving it, but it does not seem feasible to me. And I know you had a sidewalk cafe for a really long, it's
was,
been there, and
8 table and a
unfortunately,
16
yeah.
before.
so
And if you can
unfortunately,
put a 5-seat, we're been always friendly to our neighbors.
no,
I am never,
I know that, My only
we opened
complaint-
up in a Chelsea too.
I know.
Chelsea neighbor
walk
loves
this
it.
area often, so I, both of your places I walk by often, so I know that, and unfortunately, they changed the clearance, so it's the 10-foot
Same
and
thing,
not the 8.
the same, when I came for the meeting, you told me to take out the best of you the same week I took
Yes,
it. I
yes,
took it
no,
out.
I saw that too, I walked by again.
So
You
I,
could take it down.
whatever you can.
So I think, does anybody from the committee have anything, or we'll just discuss it? I mean, it is, what it is, we'll discuss it, the roadway, but
Thank you.
thank you. I just wanted to have them come to just say that so that,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Good night.
And no music outside. I just want to, no music.
No music.
Okay, okay, all right. Yeah. No music, Donald, no. This one just had the music. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. The next one, wait, yeah, I think we're going to go, I'm just jumping all over here. So hang on 1 second. We're going to do 212 Lafayette Associates doing business as Cafe Select. This is an alteration for sidewalk roadway. Yep.
Street on Lafayette and Kenmore. I wanted to say a few things
Okay.
before we go into the questions.
Okay, go right ahead.
New York has a unique and distinctive quality to individual and storefronts. This is what makes a neighborhood special. It would be counterproductive to create a set of rules that would compromise the individuality of each storefront operator. Each restaurant is different, and they should be. Some restaurants close early, others close late. Some have open windows, others cannot. Some offer crazy pizza with exorbitant prices. Others offer cheap drinks. This is what makes a neighborhood stand apart from other cities like Las Vegas. That's why each place should be looked at individually. So let's look at the Select. A Swiss-themed restaurant since 2008, serving fondue and other specialties. Just to give you an idea, we sell over $30,000 in food on a weekly basis. So far this year, we've had 4 chairs on the public ground with our small frontage. How much noise and aggravation can we cause? As far as we know, we have not received any complaints whatever in recent history. We would know because we would get phone calls if we really were bothering people. So you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may ask yourself, well, how did we get here? Or you may ask yourself, why are we not willing to close our outdoor earlier? And you may tell yourself, that is not the right question. The question really should be, why we should close earlier. And you may tell yourself, there is no reason to close earlier since we're not bothering anyone. Yes. About individuality and don't force the same rules on everyone. Let us be New York, we deserve to be once in a lifetime. The city of New York has deemed midnight the and reasonable time to close the outdoor dining. We'll accept that, and we are willing to pay the city rent for that. Otherwise, we might have to withdraw our application and move to Las Vegas. Thank you for listening to this.
Thank you, they're all coming here. Okay. So just pre-pandemic, you had the sidewalk seating
Yes.
out there with no restrictions.
Yes.
4 tables and 8 seats on the sidewalk. Right.
Yes.
Right. And then there's 6 tables and 12 seats in the road bed in front of your space.
Maximum. Yes.
Have you built that yet? Is that there?
No.
Yeah, no. Okay.
It's not there.
Okay. And then I think when you went to the outdoor dining working group, the diagram, so I'm just going to raise my issue, is that
Sure.
the diagram has the 4 tables, it has the bench and everything, and it keeps everything looking at the diagram to the left. I don't see the north arrow. So to the left of the hatch.
Everything is to the left
of the
of the
hatch,
hatch
okay.
because we need 5-foot clearance
From that.
from the main
building
entrance anyway. And so we're not arguing the hatch and we're not trying to put something on top of the
The
hatch.
hatch.
Before, under the DCA, we had a table on the hatch, and during the temporary permit that we are still running off of, we had a table on the hatch.
Okay, so you're still doing that now.
Right now we are, yes, but we have no roadside.
Okay, so the one thing I'm going to say is I believe that you are supposed to be conforming to the new rules at this point, so that means the table should be pushed over off of the hatch.
You could be correct. I would not know.
I think I'm correct on
I have
that, and go ahead.
question Is that the previous DCA rules were not any different for the hatch and having seating on the hatch. I'm just asking why.
Because the hatch, because it's the 5 foot from the primary building entrance. That's
new.
why. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
the
a new rules.
It's the 5 foot from the primary building
Yes.
entrance. Otherwise,
Also,
Yeah.
I would like to state that for the DOT application, one actually did not have to draw in the table assignments.
no, I know that, but
And for the SLA, they want
I
that.
want that.
And we probably can only fit 3 tables. I put 4 because the SLA, I've had trouble before with the SLA where they say your layout was not according to the plan. So I'd rather put too many there and then have a few less.
The way I've been writing my stipulations, or we've been writing the stipulations, CB2, for anybody for the outside is saying will not have more than,
Yeah.
figuring that when you are doing it, you might have to, that what we're being shown is the maximum,
Yes,
and that there may be a table that drops off,
yes.
but we were more concerned with getting 5 tables added in than losing a table. So
100%. Yes.
that's how that would be done. Does anybody from the committee have anything? Dr. Smith?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oliver, you mentioned that you have had no complaints. And when you made your presentation to us. And I just want to share with you that a neighbor that lives very close to your restaurant has sent a letter to us stating that you have tables on top of you have lots of noise, and you have chairs and tables on the sidewalk hatch. And personally, she found that this operation and operator to be one of the worst in the history of Petrosino Square. Cafe Select has not been a good neighbor. The owner has been relentlessly hostile to members of the community who have dared to criticize his operation and has consistently made life unpleasant. She's also asking if you would be willing, since she lives so close and she has 2 young children, would you be willing to close at 9 instead of 10?
Do you want my response? I'd rather not.
Okay, so
There's
you have 2 microphones.
there's an issue.
No, there is, yeah, this is it. Oh, this is it.
It's better from the neighbor.
Oh,
There
nothing
seems to be an issue that there's a blue awning and the sidewalk cafe beneath it blocks the fire escape ladder for the residents above. Is that you? You have the blue awning? And it blocks the fire escape ladder for residents above in a non-fireproof 100 or more year old walk-up old style Little Italy tenement building.
So the rules are that you have to have, I'm not sure specifically, you cannot have. How does that,
Yes.
there is a breakaway. Okay, okay, so you've got, compliant with the canvas top, you've got Okay, so that's solved.
Mhm.
Anything else?
What about the hatch?
The hatch, you just said that he was on it and he is going to remove the chair from the hatch because he was operating under the old rules and he will start operating under the new rules, but he was allowed to have chairs on the hatch before. The only reason he can't have chairs on the hatch is because now they have said that you need to be 5 feet from a primary building entrance. That is,
Mhm.
not clear also what a primary building entrance is. There's some back and forth on that, but that is what the rules say, and we have been
Yeah.
enforcing that. And there is no smoking permitted. Oh, you didn't know this part.
No,
There-
yeah, there's no smoking permitted. Oh,
No,
yeah,
there's no smoking.
of course.
No, there's no smoking permitted. There used to be, if you kept 3 feet away and cordoned off,
25%
and now they have eliminated
Yeah.
that and you can't do
Yeah.
that anymore. So
Yeah.
there's, that's gone. No smoking.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, let me just see, is there anybody here from the public on this application? I don't have anybody, okay. If you can come up to the microphone and speak, and you can then fill out a speaker card afterwards. Now, go ahead, come on.
I'm on the community board. I hadn't intended to speak. I didn't even know he was coming here. I don't even know him, but I know Cafe Select. I've been there many, many times. I just wanted to say anecdotally that I was very grateful that they were open during COVID. And I remember specifically getting up one time after having dinner and it was 23 degrees. So let's hope that we don't have to go back to that. But thank you for being open.
Okay, so, what was it? Okay. Okay, so, were you here before when I read what our outdoor dining stipulations say? No music, no TVs, you'll comply with all the rules. So you will keep your, and, you know, your diagram, their submitted diagram is what, give or take a table.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we won't build the road until we get the full SLA thing, because I don't want to get tempted.
oh, good for you, for you, I like that. Okay, okay, thanks for coming in. Okay, the next application is going to be the Pizza Box, which is at 176 Bleecker Street. This is a restaurant wine. Is anybody here on this application? They're still not here, so are you here for anything else, Mark?
My US house.
Okay, all right, so. Yeah. Okay, why don't we go to that one? EWS 90 West Inc. at 90 West Houston. This is an OP for a tavern. Thank you. Support, okay. Did you also send them into the office? Oh, no, but can you just email it in anyway? Yeah, because that way we can keep it on file and they don't have to scan it. That would be great.
I'm a little short, so let me just adjust this.
You can also turn it, there's a dial there right in the middle, about midway down, and it can just go down.
I think this is good. Yes, yes. Good evening. My name is Ellen. I'm from ABC License on behalf of Mr. Sam Park, representing EWS 90 West INC.
And could you just state your name one more time?
Ellen
Okay. And-
Lee, Lee is the last name.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I believe he was here before, and this is our second appearance.
Yeah.
This is a bar opening from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Sunday to Thursdays, and we're asking for 4 a.m. closures on Fridays and Saturdays. We're keeping all the structures as is. There's a one you walk in, or first of all on the lower cellar. when you walk in, there's a bar on the left-hand side with 12 stools. And the rear will have the dining tables, 15 tables and 30 seats. The capacity is 74. We have 42 seats, maximum capacity of 60, including the employees or people who are standing. Background music, no live music, no DJs, no dancing, no promoted events. No outside, because we're on the lower level.
Mhm.
There's no TVs.
No TVs?
No TVs.
There was one TV,
No,
no TVs.
no TV.
Well, that's what was to be my question now. So from what I can see, the only difference between this application and the last time we heard this application is that it's closing, there's not a TV, and that it is closing at 2 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. Sunday to Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes,
And that's the only difference.
that's the only difference. And also, I think that's it. Yes.
Okay.
But the last resolution said you close at 2 a.m. We still doing it because of other issues. Can you address those other issues?
Such as, I'm sorry, I wasn't here and,
Resolution?
no, I'm sorry.
Generally, that's a good one. Because now we're gonna have to rehash everything. Do you want to do you have a copy of that, Donna, and provide it to her and we can recall this?
I don't know actually that I printed it out. I did not print it.
Yes.
out.
I'm sorry. So my name's Frank Scotto. I'm the applicant. I
Right.
know last time you had a concern about that stabbing that happened outside of one of our other places.
Well, it wasn't, I'm just going to say it was not just the stabbing. It was a multitude of 311 complaints at more than one of your places. It's the late hours.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 places and they're all 4 a.m. licenses.
And this is what we went through last time, is that, you've got 4 a.m. licenses right next door to this one. This is more, you've got an R7 zoning right next, I mean, it's the same thing we said last time. It's an R7 zoning right next to you. And what this does is, you've got Madam X there, 3 a.m., the following 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. This just brings that more of that element down into this residential, because it is more residential here than it is north of here. And this was all the concerns we had. It wasn't just the stabbing. It was the fights outside. It was constant 301s. I believe that we had the police, correct?
This is licenses of 3 other establishments in Manhattan with similar methods of operations as dive bars with inexpensive prices, and lists out the name and the license number. There have been extensive noise-related 311 complaints at all 3 of the establishments over the recent years and continuing up to the present. There are also been complaints and videos, one from the NYPD 7th Precinct of fights and stabbings. That's out of Clockwork Bar on Essex Street, including one showing their security guards hitting someone with a skateboard. The 7th Precinct reported 45 311 noise complaints, 40 911 calls, and 5 reports of assaults in the first 8 months of 2021 in relation to Clockwork Bar, as well as there being prior unspecified SLA violations. The applicant explaining that the fights occurred after patrons left his premises and did not occur inside and were not under his control. When asked about the 311 complaints, was unaware of the issues, so either was not very involved in the day-to-day operations or was not being transparent. He also did not recall his past SLA disciplinary history when asked, but then remembered when given specific details. Right.
Well, I am involved in day-to-day operations. I'm at all 3 bars every single day. And when I said that it didn't happen inside, was that stabbing that you specifically asked me about, which I brought Kevin, who's been with me for 12 years, is that they weren't patrons of the bar before or ever after. It just happened to be in the street outside the bar. They weren't, it's bad luck on our side. I get that, but it's not that they were patrons or not patrons.
And I think though, the thing,
And the cheap, selling cheap, it is marketing. Like our drafts are $9, mixed drinks are $7, $8, and $9. We sell beer bottles at $7. So I mean, that part is marketing. The graffiti, the punk dive, or whatever you want to call it, that's marketing. I mean, we don't give anything away. There's no buybacks. There's no We do no buy one, get one. There's no boozy brunch. There's no happy hours. The prices are the same throughout. And what I preach to my guys, and Kevin can tell you, everybody pays for everything. It's a business. I know we have a look, but it is marketing and it's a business first and foremost. Kevin's been with me for 12 years, since day one.
I'm not aware of
Any place,
any place in our community board that has this many 911 calls.
I find it hard to. At 11 o'clock in the morning while I was there, and police show up and they said, we had a noise complaint. I said, maybe it's next door. I'm here alone. You know, he had a thing. I get, you know, and a lot of 311s are other bar guys calling on other bar guys. We get that too.
so I'm going to say, I think I may have said this last time, but the previous operators there, a restaurant went in and that closed at 1 o'clock. And you've got late night places right next to you. So what is the public interest of putting another dive bar next? And this was the same thing we said last time, and there was nothing different about this application. On it, you know, so
But honestly, what liquor license, restaurant, food and beverage is a benefit to the community? I mean, if there's something that I can do to do a real benefit to the community, I would.
your
I would
specialty
do it.
is dive bars. I mean, that's.
It's a neighborhood bar.
Right,
Right.
but there are neighborhood bars all around here is
Right.
my point. And
Well,
so, and I think we made our point kind of clear in our resolution that it wasn't in the interest of the residents that live around there to add one more late night dive bar when you've got two right next to, and Bleecker Street is right, isn't it? Bleecker Street is around the corner with all this activity, and this just brings this activity more so down here, which is
Okay, but I think it was a 4 a.m. license for decades. It's a bar.
I'm just gonna, I have, just gonna, I have very little patience with rehearing the same thing that we heard in
Okay.
November. In November, just 6 months ago, and there's no difference in this application. So basically, we're rehearing the same thing, and I just going to say, what do you think has changed here that's going to make us any different than before? Because there's nothing different in this application.
One-
In fact, actually, it's worse because, as Carter pointed out, you agreed to 2 a.m. last time, and now you're still asking for the 4 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. So tell me what the difference is.
One thing. And there's Eli's here that lives upstairs, and there's been even Friday. Last time I was there doing a sound check with Eli to make sure that his apartment didn't hear anything. We turned the music up as high as it would go. There was someone living in these staircases, and that's not the first person that I've had to come out to get out.
I get that. I get
know,
that.
and
No, I get that.
Even one
But
that went upstairs, she actually said, and I have a letter in that packet from Jess that lives upstairs with clockwork, and says, you know, I like the fact that a bar is open late, because if I come home at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, there's people there, there's activity. And one of the girls in that was walking by that day, she's like, I would like something to open because there are people living down there. That's all.
I get that. I just don't know that what you need is a bar that has the number of 911, 311, and other complaints that, and the information.
I
we
just
got
want to
from the
point out,
precinct.
these are not, the information that we received is from the New York City Police Department.
Right.
From a detective in the New York City Police Department, not some outraged neighbor. And I think that the credibility of that information, if it's being screened and then being provided to community board with that, is fairly credible. Am I wrong on that? I mean, that's,
Given summons, I'm sure it was a 911 complaint with the salary. They haven't issued any summons every time they came, so you have to put that into consideration as well. Because I'm sure if they find something where the music is too loud or it's very rowdy, and they would issue summons for disorderly premises, but this is
his previous SLA disciplinary actions.
one.
Okay.
Yes, one at one location for a sale to a minor, and since then, all the bartenders had to go on this, on the,
So the building owner of this location was just turned down for a liquor license for what he wanted at the liquor authority.
I
last
understood the
week,
video, yeah,
so-
he was asking for, he signed up for a certain
Right.
time and he,
It was a credibility issue.
we're not the landlord.
I understand. I'm just pointing out there's
It's just one more issue on top of
one issue.
other issues.
And it's interesting that the time to go back and watch that video, but not read our resolution.
I did not, I'm sorry.
Dr. Smith?
Would you be willing to close at 2 o'clock as opposed to 4?
Okay, 2 o'clock throughout, yes.
That's what I said last time, but that,
I think Mr. Park said we needed to attend again. I think there was a misunderstanding on, I misunderstood on his instruction, I'm sorry. We don't mind 2 AM throughout and see how we operate. And later on in the future, maybe 2 years, 2-3 years later down the road, we can always come back
But
and ask
one-
for anything.
So if you have the same issues, will you surrender voluntarily your license or do we just have to live with it?
No, we're not gonna do that, but no, we will not come to the board and say one thing and do something else behind. And
but the history is,
history, yes, but we have not heard any SLA violations because SLA.
it's not just the SLA violations, it's assault.
That's not us, and this is why we brought Kevin, because.
Kevin, did Kevin know the whole history of
Yeah,
all of this?
I mean, Kevin worked there for 12 years at this particular location that where the assault occurred. And he worked that night, but it did not happen.
It's not the
inside.
one assault. It's 5 reports of
It's-
assault. It's,
It did not happen from inside and it wasn't
I
continued.
mean, the only thing I'm going to say is, we went through this last time, and this was not a one-off or a two-off. This was in all the locations, each location, each bar had issues. It wasn't one and one, right? It was a history of having
What
issues.
what issues do you have at like the Strange Love or?
You know what, to tell you the truth, since I didn't go back and reread everything again, because I just heard this in November and I sort of
Okay.
didn't understand why I had to redo the whole thing again when I wrote up a resolution and everything else. But I do recall that it wasn't just the one bar. It was, there
I
were
don't recall.
problems, and I
Strange
can
Love
look
or-
back and see where the 311 complaints. If I have that. Do we want to go and hear from the public? Why anybody from the committee? Go ahead. A small question, Lois.
I hope I'm on. Am I on? I don't know. Thank you. It says on your application, it starts off saying you're a family restaurant and that we will focus on. Now, I'm a family person.
No, it
That's-
doesn't. You're reading something else.
Okay.
No, that's just what our thing says briefly. Just,
Oh, okay. So this is for a full OP and I'm looking at your menu and you just have, mozzarella sticks.
She's been clear. It's a dive. He's
No,
not,
it's a
I
dive
will
bar.
say, and I think I said this last time we were here.
What-
He's very honest in what he's doing. It's a dive.
Need to be, as my colleague said, what do you need to be to 4 AM in the morning? I mean, what those 2 hours, what will that bring you in income that you need those 2 hours?
Income is more than you think. It's almost, it sometimes could be rent, but it's not, and it's purely for that, to help pay the bills. Because to be honest with you, nothing good happens after midnight or 2 or 4. I mean, everybody has a different idea. I know it too. I mean, yeah, I would love if the whole city was done at midnight or 2 AM. But the reason I ask for a 4 AM is because rents are high, because landlords know that, there's 4 AM licenses and that's my problem. Okay, pay rent. But yes, I would love everybody to close at 2 AM. I mean, of course, I get that. So, between 2 and 4, it's to help financially make money. Okay, I'm not having a good time. Employees aren't having a good time. If the customers are having a good time, they probably don't know it. So it's not great, but it helps pay the rent. I'm being honest.
Yeah,
No.
actually, I'm just very articulate at the last meeting with respect to that. If I remember correctly, you really talked through that issue with why that model works. And you started to earlier today as
Yeah.
well. So, I mean, I think the issue though, are the problems that are occurring at these later hours. Our community is full of small neighborhood late night bars, and they don't have 45 911 complaints. And they may have friction and they work it out directly with their neighbors, and they do actively work, and our community board has worked through that over the years, but that's not that level of problems and not being able to see it being worked through is very hard to understand. We have had some places with many noise complaints, but not assaults, not physical violence. And in fact, an interesting distinction, our board has been, before the Liquor Authority many, many times. And one of the things, that a big distinction that the chair said, well, you don't have fights and stabbings at this place. Here we have that. And so this is why, and this area has all of the amenities and services that a New Yorker would ever need. And adding one more when it brings those issues with them is very difficult to
Justify.
explain and justify.
Yeah, I get it.
And
get it.
also this part of Houston, some people would say is a balancing area where it is a large commercial thoroughfare, but it doesn't have as much noise as if you were to go towards Bleecker Street, which is the opposite of what most areas are, right? Most areas, the larger commercial thoroughfares have the loud noise and the activity, and here that's not. Bleecker Street is a very unique area. It's been that way for decades, but even there, bad operators are very different from good operators. And over the years, BAMRA has had significant issues with bad operators, but the good operators create a patina that is what we know as Bleecker Street, right? So this is where we are having the issue, is these other areas. So changing the dynamics is not going to change what we've seen. It's hard to unsee it.
Well, like my other colleagues sang, part of a Talking Head song, I don't think New York could ever have too many punk dive scene places. But aside from that, I have to ask, where are the 45-311 calls from? What location is that? Is it 911? 911. It's okay if it's both. I don't want to waste your time. I just thought it was more specific, but the Clockwork location so the Clockwork location in Chinatown, Lower East Side, it's a different animal over there. I mean, we have the park across the street, which is not a great scene, and it is difficult to run a business there, and not just, because you have to make money and pay rent, but just the scene that comes out of the park. And they come out right there at Hester Street. There's the opening, the entrance, and we get a lot of that. And it is difficult to cope with, okay? So that's a different animal, and no disrespect to CB3, but it's just a different animal, all right? And it's not an excuse. And then the last thing I just wanted to say was, I know that you see more than I do, okay? I don't get a report from the police about 911 and 311 calls, but I'm there. I don't know how many customers, I don't know how many people in the neighborhood have my phone number. All my landlords love to give it out to the people upstairs, okay? I can't remember ever getting a phone call, an email, a letter, someone stopping by any of my locations, which have been in business for a total of 20 years. I've been in the industry since I was 15. Don't make me say it out loud. I don't think I've ever been accosted or someone come to me and say, Frank, what can we do about this? What can we do about that? Yes, with a landlord about cigarette butts or this or that, but never. I know that people complain and all these things, but no one has ever come to me in any of my locations and ever brought up anything. Hey, how can we fix this? Ever. I can't, and my phone number is all over the place. It is. That's all. Thank you.
Were you going to say something, Carter, or no? Okay. I've got some people here from the public, so why don't I hear from them? Yakov Green. Who else is here for this one? Is Yankov Green here? Is anybody here from the public? Okay, okay, sorry.
I mean, we wrote the letter, so.
So I have the letters. Yes, we got, I mean, I did see the letters that came in support. So we've seen them. Yes, and I saw him. So yeah, yeah. Okay. Anybody here on this? Go ahead.
Hi, Mark Fiedler of Bamro once again. Thank you, Carter, for bringing up our experience. We heard the presentation. None of the issues, the police issues were brought up. We approved it unanimously. 6 in favor, 1 merchant, 5 residents, none opposed, no recusals or abstentions. This particular location, we have been involved in trying to mediate between 90 West Houston Street and the backyard of Madam X. So it's already a problem that we know about. We were kind of uninformed or neutral with regard to this operation and its other locations. The marketing does seem to matter in terms of what it attracts. I don't know if I'm speaking out of my depth on this.
Okay.
And I am still learning, and this has been quite educational.
Yeah, yeah.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
To what you just said? What do you mean about your marketing? The marketing is what one would expect.
Well,
I'd like to know what that means.
Just speaking in general, with as an adult with some knowledge of the world, the marketing message that goes out is what determines what clientele comes in.
Now, what is their marketing message that you?
If it is a dive bar, then it's not going to attract a fine dining crowd.
Right.
I think that's enough to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Then-
And I have copies of.
Okay, great. Great, thank you. Okay, does anybody from the committee have anything else? Okay, do you have anything else I mean, I think we're. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application is going to be, Michael Finelli doing business as Finelli's 94 Prince Street, alteration for the roadway.
I'm Sasha Roy. This is Eric.
My name is Eric Michelle. I've been the general manager of Finelli's Cafe for the last 16 years. I'm also an artist, and I also live on Mercer and Canal Street.
16 years. Oh my gosh.
How time flies when you're having fun, right?
That's ones, but not 911s. But I think that yeah, I mean, and that's more, I think Donna we had talked, and the issues are just making sure that the roadbed is run well. And what can you guys share with us that we can share with other people who might be upset? Well, that this is going to happen given the issues. So, and things are different. So what we wanted to was to have you have the chance to tell us that.
Okay.
So that it's not a secret or, what's going to be different,
Right.
how it's going to be run well, because I think that
And to talk
we
about the
believe that
sidewalk.
you guys can run it well, and it's just takes you guys sharing that, so we're all on the same page.
So I believe the project, it started out pandemic, crazy times, and people were just sitting on the roadbed, on the curb,
as a place to come. So it started out and we learned how to operate it. And it took us a long time. And it was a 4-year experience. And now we have hosts and, we've constantly training new employees. You can't let people drink on the street. You have to move them along. You got to clear the street. We've really gotten, I'm a broken record. Like it's incredible amount of work. And it also is extremely important for us to be financially viable. These new things have changed. And something, not being fine dining and not charging fine dining prices. And we do need the volume that it's added to allow it. I can go off and just talk, or else I
No,
can get
so I was just,
specifics.
I mean, I think some of the concerns are really the crowding on the sidewalk, which, and then I know Instagram and social media has done a whole thing too, that you didn't have as much crowding before. So, and you're packed inside often.
Well,
You can, there's not a waiting, the bar is there, the tables are there. It's not a criticism. It's just a fact of that you don't have a holding area for people. So, kind of what's the plan to manage that? How, and your broken record, is part of that plan.
We try to
And
keep people lined along the front of our kiosk, which we use during the day to
Right.
to sell soups. So we do have a maitre d' who stands there, who also, works as a bouncer to make sure that everybody's safe, who's constantly going around saying, no drinks. We have signs everywhere saying no drinks outside.
we've also had to retrain the customer because
Yeah.
the customer got used, and when the pandemic first happened, people were drinking everywhere. So then they were like, "What? You can't do that anymore?" No, you can't do that anymore. So we had to. That was a real
I'm
process.
sure it's still, people still
And
believe
people
that you
still
can't
come in
do-
and try to. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Doors too.
Right.
So they would play the little sneaky
but-
game of they.
Like the child with the
Run
parents.
up the other one and be like, "But I just told you, you can't be outside with a cocktail. You have to get back." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Then he right around the corner, and here he is again on the other side."
So
It's frustrating.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
And if we need to do it more, we'll do a better job. And also we're there, so people can come to us and talk to us.
So you have just to tell people what the application is, you've got 3 road beds, 3 road beds on Mercer Street.
Actually, I'm not
Is it-
sure.
This is what I have.
Right. So I'm not sure where we are exactly, but I talked to I don't
So
know-
should I go to the public first and let you go away and let the public come up and speak, and then you can,
if you'd like. I could just also, I just wanted to say I met with Sean Sweeney
Okay.
from Soho Alliance, and I met with Pete Davey from the Broadway Residents Coalition. And they said, hey, maybe you could do this, but do a little bit less. And so I do have another picture over here of the latest kind of a compromise that we've kind of come up with.
okay.
And that's where
Right.
if you want to go to the public, we can sit down and you can hear what he says.
Why don't you tell me what your compromise, yeah,
What we've done is we had reduced the outdoor seating in the roadway seating. We'd taken it completely off of Prince Street. We've also
okay.
removed it further down Mercer Street.
So it's not in front of the 3 tables, so it's not in front of the kiosk anymore?
It's no longer in front of the kiosk.
You didn't get rid of that whole road bed though?
Right.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah, so
Okay.
You can see it's significantly reduced.
That's what they asked for. And,
Okay.
and
So what's the,
well, if that's what they have asked for and that's what you guys will agree with, then we're stuck there and we'll compromise. But, I don't know.
wait,
But now I can't get any more and no one knows me because everyone who worked there left. But that's not your problem. I'm a stranger instead of someone who's been there 1,000 times. This corner here,
Susan Houston.
I'm so sorry. This corner, I know you'll tell people don't drink outside, but it clusters there. And I almost wonder if it's going to cluster more because there's no road bed.
I'm not completely in agreement with. I agree with that. I see that we're losing control of space by doing that. So that's why I don't really agree with it completely. But I'm trying to give the people what they want
Right.
so that
I
we
see
move
that.
together
But
forward.
that was your only problem really, in a way. I mean, if you're not giving people drinks, that's different,
It-
but you're too successful now and they're there. So I don't know.
Not even
Oh.
actually their customers. There's people.
Right.
There's like tons of people.
A lot
at
of
this-
people that
and
out there.
I mean,
and it's
so
seen.
we can police them as much as we can.
But they're not your customers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not our
It,
customers.
it had been, they're not hanging out with beer sitting there anymore. That's not happening
No,
at
I
all.
noticed that.
At
I
all.
was by, and I thought,
It's not.
no one's drinking,
No, no,
no
no.
one's drinking.
No one's doing that. They're
just there.
they're there. They're loving life. If
You know, it's also kind of a meeting zone for people who are going to Sartiano's, who are going to Lure. They tend to like stop in one place, or they go to their restaurant and they're like, oh, your table's not ready. We can't get you in. And they kind of just sit there and go, what's our plan going to be? We go in here and have a drink, or should we
Right.
go over there and have a drink? Or
which is being used, that's public people using public space in a beautiful way. Not.
Okay, all right, so let me, go ahead.
So where we are in the discussion, I'm just. so we don't
Yeah, bringing it
spend
back,
all night,
yeah.
Spend all night talking about everything. Is you can have out roadbed dining.
Right.
You've been working with the community on whatever it is, right? We'll hear from them. And the steps that are taken to maybe ameliorate all these other issues from the past are, you know, really training the staff better, trying to retrain your customers as well, and really actively or being proactively managing the space, right? Just so we're, and if there's any suggestions from anybody, that would be helpful
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just talking and it seems like you guys are willing to work on whatever the layout is, for lack of a better word, right? So that's what we're gonna hear, because I don't want to.
Right.
Right.
Keep going. Okay, so I'll go to the public. Yes. Who do we have? Pete? Davies and who else? You have, is Renee? Okay. I need the silence.
This is Broadway Residents Coalition. Sasha. Sean and I, we had a really good discussion about the dynamics of that intersection. And as Sasha said, the one thing that we did ask was, God, it would be great if there was that structure blocking the fantastic facade of Finelli's iconic place in Soho. And as Sasha pointed out, we talked about the log jam that happens in front of the kiosk. When people are waiting for food and directly opposite. So the idea was start that roadbed section just to the south of where the kiosk is. So that's what we asked for. And that was pretty much where the conversation went.
Okay. Is that it?
I think
Yep.
just to talk together for a second. What you just brought up about it might not work. It might be good to have some structure there for people to stand in. So I mean, I think if we had an agreement where like we give up Prince Street, which I don't want to do. But we give that up completely. And then we don't know exactly how we're gonna finalize Mercer Street, but we have some space to figure it out to make it work. And you can come and yell at me and I can be like, we're trying to
So,
figure this out.
what? Huh?
I mean, it's
What?
just, there's a lot of people who want to be in the city. It's beautiful.
Everything-
Agreed.
They want to reduce it to.
too
just
good.
quick.
You-
Okay.
I mean-
There, okay, so, yeah, all right,
But so I'm just clear, to
Yeah.
be clear. I think what Sasha just mentioned was to have some sort of structure
opposite the kiosk?
To keep the roadbed, I think what he is saying, but we have more.
So it would be a safe zone for people to stand or?
To not get rid of the roadbed necessarily in front of on the kiosk part, just get rid of it on Prince Street, and maybe that would eliminate just some of the other gathering that's
Well,
happening.
just-
Carter?
So, yeah, I was just
But
gonna say, I'm looking
more
at the
people.
diagrams, right?
Right,
So
right,
just
right.
the two diagrams, which.
Right.
So. The new diagram is reflective of what? Why was this done?
To move seats from the kiosk.
All right, so to move people.
took this all away.
No, I know this, but why was this taken away?
Because they wanted
Okay.
they wanted it from the kiosk.
And it got confusing because of the gas and the this, and they want 3 feet here. So it's what it is.
They need 3 feet between all of those, or because there's a gas thing in there, there's something else in the street that you're working around.
Right, I see, yeah.
So you had the 20 feet because they were close to 20 feet is why, yeah.
I guess in a way you have to see because we know that.
Oh, and you had the gas meter, I see.
Yeah, I mean.
So wait, can I just say one
Yeah,
thing? Can we?
say if in the past here, and I'm not binding, you're there all the time, but if you make this space, people are gonna stand there.
They're gonna stand there, right? I think
mean, is
that's
that-
Susan's point.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's what I thought, and I reached out to Sean today and I was like, can I move it a little bit forward more?
Okay, so wait,
You're back.
wait, can I just get my meeting back under control? What I'd like to do is I have a few people here from the public. So why don't we hear from everybody and then continue just to hear if anybody else has anything to say that might, and you can think for a minute about how you feel about the kiosk.
Yeah, if I could just point out one other
Yes,
thing.
finish here.
When I was arriving to talk to Sasha, I noticed that there was a delivery truck parked right there on Mercer near the intersection. And given the way the plan was, there was no more curb space for deliveries to them along Mercer. So it seemed, opening that space up in front of the kiosk could serve multiple purposes, which is decongest the sidewalk, allow for a space for deliveries. Plus, if it's a no parking area, then without even a structure, people would naturally
Be there.
hang out there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
One thing that I've noticed, because I'm there every weekend forever. In the past, we had water-filled barricades to disallow traffic from parking there. And people will drive their cars and actually push
Move
the
them.
barricades forward and then park half in the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, because it's a parking space everywhere in Soho on the weekends. So immediately cars pull in and they just want to take over the space.
Right.
And, in the past, we've been like, you can't park here. We're trying to keep this so that it's free, so that we can have people stand here so they're not blocking the sidewalk. And then they're like,
Right.
it's not your street. I can do whatever I want, and it's like,
Okay.
yes, okay, I'll bite my tongue. I'm sorry. But, you try to do it as polite as possible. And as we all know, people don't always want to be polite. So that is just one thing I wanted to add about that little area.
Okay. Renee. Oh, turn the
Thank you. So Renee Monroe's Broadway Residents Coalition. I have lived in the neighborhood for decades and know Finelli's well, live around the corner. And I have seen the transformation and the crowding. And so I discussed, Pete discussed his conversation with me, with Sasha, and I thought the modified plan made a lot of sense in terms of trying to prevent the logjam on that corner, because it's, as we all know, it's a problem. So I just wanted to support that. Now, I don't know, now you've proposed putting another structure in front of the kiosk. I haven't really thought that through, so I don't know what
Yeah.
to say about that.
Yeah, I
The
think-
whole
I think-
effort is to just clear
think
up
the
that.
point was, or the consideration is keep it off of Prince and maybe
Right.
keep the configuration
On Mercer.
on Mercer, because it very well may just be filled
Right,
with
the
people
standing
anyway,
there
and, so it's, which is more haphazard than people actually sitting in seats and they're getting rid of the other area,
Yeah,
so it
no,
gives them a few
understand.
more seats.
I do that.
That's all.
Anyway, I just want to thank Finelli's for all the efforts they've made to, talk to the community.
Yeah.
And
Good.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bo, and I think, do I have other people here to speak on this? I can't read the handwriting, Ashma and Carl. So,
Okay, so Bono, I just want to say that I live around the corner. I've been going to Finelli's for many years, but never so much since COVID. And they really performed a tremendously helpful service to the community. Susan knows that. I mean, they were open when we were eating Cuomo fries and, nobody could go inside, and they were consistently open. And we really owe them a debt of gratitude. Honestly, we really do. And with little known fact is I'm actually president of the Soho Alliance, and I spoke to Sean today, and I know Sean met with Pete, and we all talked to Sasha, and just tonight now I was wondering about that, and I'm actually thinking we need to keep that hole plugged, because I think it'll be worse if you remove the roadbed seats from the corner. I think you'll have a real terrible problem. That's number one. Number two, I wonder about Prince too, because again, they don't promote it, but people will come. They will come, and Instagram. What?
Yeah.
No, maybe. I don't know. I mean, okay, forget about it. I mean, it's agreed that Prince will be eliminated, but I do think you need to fill that hole on Mercer. That's my opinion.
okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna, I mean, for the residents, I mean, I would find it when there's a car park, they're actually more dangerous to me on that corner. And I remember when you had the orange
Mercer, you're
barricades
talking about
out on
Mercer corner?
and it actually becomes very strange because it sort of creates a space for people to stand, that then there's movement around, and the aggressiveness on the weekends of the parking, because these are all, anyway, anybody who's been around there, you can just see it, what it is. But it's, and I have to say, I mean, the outdoor seating provides outdoor seating, of which there's very little of, and you were the first ones and only ones doing it there for quite some time. So there's a kind of and you can't get there. So if you reduce it, it's even harder for, it's a strange thing, but you've also agreed to close it at a reasonable time, so it's less impactful. So it seems to me that there's a lot
Okay, so we
that's
still have more
working
people to hear.
through. Yeah, well, it just all, these are
Yeah.
folks that we see, and I know they're trying to work on it, but I was actually curious if they had any comment on that from
Okay.
Pete, Renee, or.
Oh, Pete, Renee, have any comment? Yeah. Pete, Renee, go ahead.
Oh, I'm Carl.
Okay.
Carl Ansley.
Okay.
It's actually probably might have been my car being parked there in that
Okay.
spot.
And so, Carl,
So I apologize for that.
so did you fill out a
I
speaker card?
did.
Did you hand it to me? Or-
I don't. Yeah, it's
It's
up
up
there.
there
It should be up there somewhere. So my name's Carl Ansley. I'm 131 Hersha. So
Got it.
I live 2 doors down from Finelli's, and like I said, that might have been my car on the corner there. I kind of wanted to briefly talk about everything else except for the corner, because to me the biggest issue is, and the folks who live there know this, is that it gets late early around there. And something that I noticed, and like the previous speaker mentioned, I think we're very grateful to Finelli's for providing some life to the neighborhood, because it's not like some of these other places we've been talking about where there's tons of bars around. This is really like an island of activity, and sort of a, after the retail stores close, it gets very, very almost desolate at times, right? Even now. And I have a family of 4, I have a dog, I walk the dog. My wife and my daughter do not feel safe walking the dog late at night around there. And since Finelli's is closed, what was it, in April, I think they was when the outdoor dining.
Yeah.
They just, at night, it's just, to be honest, in the winter, late can feel like 9 o'clock around there. It can feel, we're not talking 2 a.m. I mean, I walk the dog as late as 12 midnight, and it's really sketchy around there. I felt a lot more comfortable during that time that Finales was operating, because it sort of radiates humanity, life within a few blocks of where it is. And it's really just since then it's been pretty desolate, and I do feel a little nervous for walking around, and I see people walking around looking a bit nervous. So I just wanted to voice some support for Finales and life.
Okay. And no comment on the corner.
I mean, I walk past that
Oh.
corner 3 times. Like,
Yeah.
to me, it's not the biggest deal. Like,
Okay,
if you
okay.
live in New York City,
Yeah.
you get busy corners, you deal with it. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't.
Okay. And is there anybody else here to speak on? Yeah, come on. No. It's usually hot because of this screen is usually on and it's like an oven, but anyway, okay, go ahead.
So I'm Ash. I live at 94 Prince, which is the building, which is the Finales building. So
Okay.
I went to Ash Deshmukh. I just wanted to talk about the noise situation and
Okay.
the crowd situation.
Okay.
I've lived there for 5 years. There's none at all. I don't have a problem. I have windows on 2 sides, including Prince Street. I've never had any issues with any noise. Finelli's is like just the most conscientious operator. I'm an operator. I'm coming before 2 to get added to a license in a couple months. And I wish kind of like everyone else in my peer group worked like Sasha, which is just keeping things open and broad and accessible and really great for the community. I think it's not that easy to operate now. The Prince Street side, I would say, I didn't know about this, but I think it should probably have Roadway, because I think it would alleviate people coming there. And it's honestly like the most popular place in New York, and people want to be there all the time. And they can't control people coming. And I think they do such a good job. I walk out on the Prince Street side to go to work and to walk and to do everything every day. And it would be, I think, meaningful to have seating there. So it's not a free for all on the weekends, or it's not something else. And that's not just their crowd, it's everyone walking around. And it's like a joy to live above Finelli's, which I can't tell. And it's a joy for everyone who goes. And there aren't that many places like this anymore. And I moved in during COVID, and like a lot of people said, it's the only place that was really open doing food, and they do food that is broad and accessible. I'm vegetarian. I can eat a full meal there, and people can eat a full meal there and not spend $100. And I don't think that's going to be true for that much longer in Soho. So I think it's important that you support Sasha and his family and whatever he needs to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Pete, Renee, did you have any comments to what Carter was saying about the corner? Do you have any new comments about the roadbed on Prince Street? So we get your input here.
It's just, it's more complicated than I thought when we were first meeting, which, I didn't envision any automobiles in either of those slots in front of Finelli.
Empty.
I don't know how you accomplish that. So, we're open to any sorts of things, but I'm not here to like say no. We were just offering a suggestion of ways that we thought that could work better. And I think that's the process we're in now, is figuring it out. So.
Okay.
I think one way to do it is to have something that there isn't much of anymore, is trust. And if you trust
like
us,
you're all talking to each other. So,
like you can see, we've already kind of created a dialogue, and maybe we don't build anything there immediately, but we think about it and see. So like the DOT has given us this incredibly generous space.
Right.
If you ratify it, or whatever it means, I don't know what it really means. If you say it's okay, and then we see, oh, this doesn't work, let's change it to this and try something else. And then we're we would try that. That would be, it's kind of fun to try things and make it work. You know, it's kind of like, there's.
That work with.
I just, well, I was just gonna say though, it's also building stuff, right?
Right.
And, you know, you get two very different designs here.
Well,
and,
I mean,
you know.
Me and Eric are the builders too.
No, no, I understand, but I'm just saying
we've
that
got a shop in Brooklyn where we're building everything. We've got it all built, but I could modify
Like a
it.
cutting wood.
Right, no, I understand, but what I'm just saying though is
It's
that
different.
when
Is it steel?
It's all steel now.
you'd
It's
have to
not-
resubmit everything, this new, like, to here, well, I'm just saying, I mean, what?
You think for the DOT?
Well, the SLA is
also
gonna
for
wanna
SLA,
know.
where are you serving, where are you not? It's,
So then just
you
go
know,
with this one. That's why I said truck.
That-
Go with the original thing, and then if I go like this, then that's what.
I'm not disagreeing, that's why I'm trying to get
Yeah.
everybody to talk about
Right.
it.
So.
Us to do the right thing.
So,
About having the maximum chairs, even if you end up only using.
I heard that and I really liked that when I heard that.
so as long,
'Cause that
I
was
just
something
want
we
to
were trying
clarify that, as long as it's not 50%.
Right, we were trying to figure out how to.
So instead of the small seating in the middle, that might be better potentially in the end. So that way, that could be the, whatever you, like, this is, you know, if you're definitely doing this, and then this could be whatever, instead of having it in the middle, but and that's, because that's the only thing you, yeah,
Gas thing is keeping it down there.
That's okay. 'Cause
that has to stay, but
build
just,
this to here, you're saying.
yeah, whatever.
No, because then you get,
We move the littler table. more in front
Exactly.
of-
right.
Too big a spot, you have a car.
No, he'll slide the other one down
Yeah, slide it down and move this over so it creates an area.
and
where
make
people
that
can
one a little
stand,
bit bigger.
But it doesn't get small sidewalk,
This.
and yet stops cars from like coming and blocking everything. You could definitely do that.
But not go back to the original one? Carter, do you have anything to say about that?
So can I ask you guys,
Right, well,
is if a flexible plan is put forward, like is being discussed, would the SLA and DOT, would
That's
the
my own
SLA
question.
accept
What
that?
do I need to do for the
I
SLA?
just don't even know what we're talking about it, because I don't know what's wrong with that plan.
The plan we were provided,
Yeah,
the original plan,
Do the whole plan.
right?
Get approved.
Right, that's,
Right.
okay.
That's
So,
what I was sort of.
and that
figuring
would
myself,
make it
why
so
we're
they
moving
wouldn't have to
tables
come
around.
back and say, we're making it great.
So does anybody, just for the community, before you walk away, Pete, are you okay with working with them with the Prince Street if they decide to put the Prince Street in and
If that's what it comes down to, you know, that's the world we're in, you know, but,
well, okay, I mean, I will say it's a season. So if it's a nightmare, well, oh, that's true. Yeah, but they don't have to, but if they're not building it, they don't have to, but you're paying for it too. Yeah.
one of the other things I will just say that finales is nice to look at,
yeah,
right? And by not having the structure on Prince Street, it really allows keeping one part another, and you know, it's one of the few last remaining signs like that, and just having a nice view of the window, the people sitting inside. I think that for many of us walking around over the years before this ever came along, even just looking in the window is another form of activity
Yeah.
and whatever it is,
Just to be
you
able to
know,
The way to,
so.
like, if we did build anything on Prince Street, it has no cover. It would be like only, there would just be an open thing so that,
Not the obstruction for that.
right, it would be, it wouldn't.
Cool.
So
6 inches tall.
no, I'm inclined.
so
to-
BRC would say yes to all those things you were just,
Maybe,
Yeah.
or should we just discuss it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, I think the one thing we'll say is the modified plan, whatever. Yeah,
It sounds
this
like
is what-
stick to the original plan that I gave in.
maybe. Minus maybe Prince Street.
and
Stick to the original plan on Mercer and minus Prince.
If that's what you say.
And you're not doing anything on the sidewalk.
The sidewalk is still being kind of trying to understand what the laws are. So
Okay.
I'd like to just stick to this one thing right now.
Right, and then
just
come
get
back
this
for the
done
sidewalk.
and come back in once we I'm getting different people are telling me
Right.
different things, and I'm trying to figure out who I
Okay.
need to talk to. But I
So-
think we also just said that we would submit keeping Prince Street, but we wouldn't build any. No.
It would be just keeping everything on Mercer Street.
Get rid of Prince Street.
And get rid of Prince
Okay,
Street.
that's fine. I'm completely.
I think that's where we're sort of landing here.
The actual original proposal, so if you almost went down the road and said, hey.
Minus that.
this is
Okay,
minus that.
you're saying minus that. Okay.
Right. Last thing, go ahead quickly. You have to go to the microphone. If you want to add something, you have to get up and go there.
About this now, it seems to me, and also to Carter's point about seeing the building, if they just put removable tables and umbrellas on Prince Street and not build anything, I think.
They have to build something. You can't just put a table.
You
and
can't
chair.
do that anymore?
No.
Can you do a barrier on one end of it? And
No, it has to be closed on 3 sides up to the sidewalk.
and it has to be, does it have to be a roof?
32 inches tall. Right.
Yeah, without a roof. It wouldn't impede the view. I mean, it would be.
Okay.
Make it so that people have a place to be out of the way.
And frankly,
Well,
I think that would be helpful because it's.
Okay,
we
at
don't-
this point, I think
Okay, are you get the.
we understand. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? We're good with this? Okay, I'm closing finales. Okay. Okay. So then the next application is going to, is my Catico Inc. doing business as Il Carollo at 176 Prince. This is for a sidewalk and a roadway. Hi. I'm sorry. No.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
Bring back the muscles.
And the onion bun.
Heartbroken.
There you go.
Hi, good evening.
Okay. Go ahead. Where did mine go?
Good evening. My name is Stephanie. I am the owner and operator of Il Corralo Trattoria, located at 176 Prince Street. Now, just can you take the conversation, please? I'm here this evening with my alteration to add sidewalk and roadway dining for the restaurant under the new dining program.
So I'm going to just say I have not thoroughly gone through.
Yeah, it's 172-6 Prince Street. We use 176 to define ourselves on the block.
Okay. And you've got 2 tables and 4 chairs on Prince on the sidewalk and 8 tables and 16 chairs in the roadway. And
That's it.
and that's
We close at 10. On Friday and Saturday, we close at 9
okay.
the rest of the week. And we have a beer and wine license.
Okay. And when you went to the outdoor dining, I think there was some discrepancy in the restaurant frontage.
Yes, when we did during COVID, we had a very large frontage. Because we had permission from our landlord and our neighboring tenants. That was filed with, I guess, whatever the original dining out program was. My landlord gave us permission and the tenants to use a much larger frontage. But according to the new dining out program, our new frontage is just the frontage of the restaurant.
And that you have is 22
It's
feet.
22 feet.
So I think one of the questions that came out in that meeting was that the tax lot didn't show that it was 22 feet or something
Oh,
to that
okay.
effect.
I wasn't aware of that.
And then did you need the FDNY waiver? No.
No, I have my conditional approval. I'm just waiting for a couple of my insurance COIs to come in to start paying the DOT.
Okay, so this is interesting because it says 8 feet 3 inches is the width of the curb lane. But you can only have 8 feet, right?
Okay.
That's the maximum. that you can have for this.
So we can amend that, and pull it in.
Time to burn the tree. Oh, the sidewalk, all right, and then. And then you've got the. So you're a nut, so I'll have the same conversation with you.
Yes.
How are you having people in 2 feet of a sidewalk cafe?
My understanding from the DOT, when I spoke to them to do the application, was that my frontage allowed me 2 tables and 4 chairs for the sidewalk cafe. When they are put out next to the door, we set them diamond. So it's like when you, like the French cafes or was it Jack's by Frida? So the customers are both sitting facing the street. That way the server is able to serve them this way in front of them rather than having to go between them.
And how big is the table?
Our tables are 20 by 20.
So that leaves 4 inches for the server to stand in front of them.
I see.
Because
I was not aware
I'm
of
just
these, yeah.
telling you because I have 2 issues. One, you have to have a perimeter on the outside,
Yeah.
to delineate your space.
Absolutely.
So that is within the 2 feet. You know what
I
I'm
see what you're
saying?
saying, I do.
Because according to your diagram, I don't know this, but according to your diagram, the sidewalk width is 12 feet.
Yes.
And the clear path it's a regional corridor, so the clear path is 10 feet, so that is 10 feet.
I
That's-
see. Then
So that leaves you with 2 feet, and you have to get the perimeter marking in there, your 20-inch tables in there. People need to be able to walk from the entry of this, to the, or I guess they can
I
enter on
understand what
both
you're saying.
sides, but I don't know how any wait staff or you've got 4 inches.
I understand.
And
that
then
was
my-
not,
And my other issue is what you heard me say, I think, to some of the other people is ADA accessibility is 30 inches. I mean,
Understood.
accessible route is 36, but for a chair, it's 30 inches. And you don't have 30 inches. So
Understood.
it's not ADA compliant.
for the sidewalk cafe, I was advised by a DOT agent that worked with me on this application. So I did take their advice as we walked through it. If I do need to withdraw the sidewalk, I don't have an issue with that if it doesn't work for the community. It's 2 tables. It's more an
It's more to
opportunity
have a presence.
it's more of a presence. It just gives us, a little zhuzh.
Maybe some planters.
Well, we have planters. If people will stop picking my flowers.
Better the pigeon was eating one. So, okay. So will you remove the sidewalk?
That's fine. I don't have an issue with
Because
that. I have enough to do.
And then the roadbed, is this sort of the configuration you're doing?
It is the footprint.
Okay.
I'm still collecting bids for it because I don't want to build it until I have my SLA.
Right.
And I'm going through the marketplace
Do
to
you
find.
think these tables will fit in there? I mean, did you
I
do some
think
kind of measurement?
yes, we did. It depends if we use the metal barrier, we're
lose
gaining
a-
more
you get a-
space, as opposed to the wooden structure. The only bid that I have in right now is a wooden structure,
Yeah.
which brings us down to, I think it's 14 seats with a bench. But it wouldn't be more than what's there.
Okay, so right now, all right, so you've got 8 and 16. so
Yeah.
It won't be more than
It
that.
won't be more than that.
Okay, and it's ADA, you can get an ADA ramp and
Yes.
you'll make sure you can get an ADA.
Absolutely. And the dining room itself is ADA compliant
Okay.
as well.
And so, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh. So, yes, I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I misspeak often, but the legal address of the property is 172 space 6 Prince Street. That's what's on our SLA license.
If you go to the
Or the
city
DOB as well.
records, like,
Mhm.
so for like your building identification number, it's assigned as 170 to 174 Prince Street and 115 to 117 Thompson Street.
Okay.
and 176 Prince Street is actually the building next door. On
Oh,
the city's
if-
records. Just
Yeah, thank you.
it's also impossible to fix at this point because you can't like just change your liquor license
Well, my liquor license.
easily.
Yes,
'Cause
correct.
it says 172 space 6.
Yes, because that's what the previous
Right.
liquor license said as well. for-
Like I was saying.
Yeah, since yes.
That you can't change it. But the reason that we just bring it up, and I was made aware of this, if there's an emergency and somebody says 176 Prince Street, they will go to the wrong space because the assignment of the
Understood.
city's emergency systems are very specific. So that's just a
I would love to.
something,
aside
and
from
that's
the
why we
changes,
were had
any-
confusion because we didn't have somebody presenting at our outdoor dining when we were just trying, and that's why there was a question about the frontage because
Understood. Thank you. I mean, if
and it can be corrected though
I would love to know
by
what those
petitioning the city to change the assignments.
Okay.
Yeah, for the numbers, because the city does every legal address is assigned by. Anyway, so that was why we had confusion. I'd forgotten about that. So
That was last month, correct, or March?
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for not being here. I was away.
So anyway, that was where that whole. I'm just gonna double check to make sure. we're
Okay,
the
but
same.
from 9 a.m.
We will be, we're also have a modification. I did not see that on your, I submitted the SLA 30-day notice for modification. We're opening for breakfast in a few weeks. And I would like to modify that on my liquor license as well.
Okay, so you need to,
We're gonna open at 9. I put down 8. I would love to have business at 8, but I believe
But
that's what I
ju-
put on the modification is 8 a.m. I'm
8
gonna
a.m.,
start at
okay.
9 to see how it goes.
but the outdoor is 9 a.m.
The outdoor would be
Or do
9.
you want it?
I would like them both to be 8 a.m. That's what I put on the modification, but the modification isn't on this agenda. I only saw the roadway and the sidewalk. So I just mentioned that as a,
Okay, so what you should do, since you're telling us now, you should send in that form.
you have it. I mean,
have it.
I provided it.
You provided it.
Mhm.
Okay, so it just didn't make it onto our agenda.
Yeah.
So we're discussing, so your only change is, and I didn't pull up your stipulations. You have
My stipulations are like no dancing. Is that what?
yeah,
those are?
and then it
Yes,
says the hours and everything else.
exactly. So that's the modification would be the hours
Okay.
Yeah.
And the change is to open
to open it from 9. Yeah. Or from, I'm sorry, from 8. I apologize. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
would be our hours. I know, it's like baby steps, but figure it out how to do it. But I would love to open at 8.
Okay, I think that does it. Anybody have anything else? No? Carter? are
Thank you, guys.
Looking still, or you're
I
good? There was
appreciate
nothing
it.
else you wanted to look up?
Have a
Okay,
nice evening.
thanks for,
Thank you very much.
thanks for hanging out. I'm sorry. Okay, last but not least, I'm calling the pizza box just to make sure that they're not here. And they're not here.
So
176 Bleecker. It's the old, Honest, street food chat. Okay, do you want to, anybody want to take a break for a minute or? Okay.
Tedious work you do. And so now that I come to these meetings, I see how much work and how at times frustrating work you do. So I appreciate that.
Maybe somebody can do something.
Mark, do you know?
I don't want to remind the security people that we're here late.
I'm not late yet, Mark. I just want to point that out.
No, you're doing great. I just,
Parcelle. Yeah, and Mark will confirm that we're gonna be here on Thursday.
We are. I spoke with Louis tonight, invite you to say hello. So we're all set. And I've already updated the website and we can talk about whether we should do tomorrow just for that.
We should do that, or we, and also we have all, everybody rest that are on the agenda.
Okay.
So that they're not gonna expect it to be changed today, so you might just have to tell everybody to chat. I don't think they're gonna be expecting it to be changed.
Email myself and.
I mean, it just has to be two lines because the location has changed. And
Sure, absolutely.
That's it.
And I think that information.
All on the agenda. Yeah. All of them. Oh, I don't know if it's up. We got them outdoors at once tonight. And way down. And one other back. Until whole conversation. That I'm not, I can't move forward on it. If I don't have to be called.
Okay, yes, 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 yes.
So. Five of us. Okay, first one was Tom. Oh, so. Oh, right, that's right. Salt pepper. We were supposed to be. Yeah. Okay, so those are the before 0. Yeah, Shifka, salt pepper, ketchup. No, it's. I mean, they seem good. You know, barbecue, CB2, background, it's only closes its time. No patron. Use of the basement, it's his first restaurant, the alley, first restaurant.
I meant to ask them here if they're outside.
I didn't ask why they was. I didn't ask if they wanted to, they seemed to, they just said no outside, and seemed to be, like, that wasn't something they were. They didn't say never, but they. Yeah, no, they weren't, they didn't say anything about coming forward wanting it. or anything. So are we unanimous with that? Yeah. Okay, got it down. Next one was from Tom. Time to choose, That's a pretty big spot, but. Yeah. They're renovating it, it's 11 to 11, bathroom, no outdoor, no operable doors. The basement is part of the license, they haven't, the takeout counter in the front, and they're just, they gave the table and chairs, and then they didn't do the diagram, they're rented. So, are we behind us with that? Nice to see that. Yeah. You can't hear you down here. Is Angelika.
And all of them, right?
Yeah, one is just a, one is.
Listed improperly.
Yeah.
This is a secondary license under the main license, but we have it listed as two.
Two licenses, but it shouldn't be, and I didn't look carefully. So it should have, it's just the second bar. Yeah, so we're denying less with this class change.
Okay, so the second one, they're having it downstairs?
Yeah, they have a bar downstairs and.
Good, I remember this whole discussion.
Yep.
But they got it already. Great.
Yeah, so did I. so-
Yeah.
Okay, Parcelle, this is
I
the
guess downstairs, it would only be people who are actually going.
downstairs into the theater down
So
there.
it wouldn't become like the lobby.
No, then that's what they said, it was just.
Have a
people,
ticket
but-
and
In the beginning, it was just the lobby, and then they took part of the application last time, because it
put
was
it-
two.
Mhm.
And they expanded it, but they didn't do the upgrade,
Right,
and then
Right.
this time they did an
Yeah.
upgrade.
right,
so,
Yeah, no, but it means that.
cocktails.
okay, next one, Parcelle. That,
So the issue only seemed to be the sidewalks.
right, so I mean, the alteration to add the adjacent storefront, maybe we just. Are we okay with that?
If there's no outdoor dining associated with that, because if
There is
you
not.
recall that
It was a mess.
previously operated place broke every rule every day at a time, all day
Right.
long.
So what are we saying here? No outdoor dining?
Well, they didn't have any, but I'll put that in the reso on Houston.
Front of house. That was previously sung in Cooley's old
And it was a
spot.
mess.
Right.
and
Yeah,
We always had it set up improperly.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, then the other things we have are the. You know, the roadbed and the sidewalk, so
So the roadbed, during when they came to us, the issue is that across the street, right, is parking at certain times and
Correct.
unloading at others.
correct,
And so as a result of that, we felt that they did need a FDNY waiver.
correct,
And so in this application, they did reduce it, correct, right?
The size, yeah.
Yeah, they
Yes.
reduced the width. I
right,
don't know if they still need the waiver or not. But
Right.
then, I don't have an issue with that except for our standard FDNY language.
Right.
FDNY waiver language.
right,
But the sidewalk is just a continuing situation with. Doesn't conform to federal law,
right. And I think that, I
and they
mean,
are two separate areas to what we were.
that's
told,
what we were
right?
told, that's what
Yeah,
Stella said, that's what she was told.
I mean, it's like I said to Grant, I mean, it's a disservice that the DOT.
Yeah.
Doesn't require, them to.
Yeah.
Or work
DOT
through them with federal laws.
Right, I mean, in my opinion, DOT should be saying, your sidewalk cafe has to be, can't be any narrower than this measurement.
It's not, they just give no guidance on, in their own regulations with compliance with federal ADA.
Well, that's.
Well, they
this is
say you
about-
have to,
What's
they
that?
say you have to comply,
Yeah, but
they
don't
don't
give
tell you
any
what it
guidance.
means.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of.
Yeah,
They thought they were complying.
Well,
And it may be that they don't want to be the one to interpret it,
Right.
which I get, but it seems that any basic interpretation that anybody goes to see is contrary to what
DOT said, exactly.
or to what their regulations are.
Yeah.
And it may be that the reason, now that I'm thinking about it, that it may be that is because DOT in the dining out program, you're not actually, you don't have to show your tables and chairs. You just have to show your licensed area, so they may be saying, hey, when you decide what you put there.
I'm just.
That's what, well, I'm just pointing out, and if you put no tables and chairs, then you would not need an ADA table, and there's no requirement that you put seating in it.
But if there's no seating, that implies that if you're having a sidewalk cafe, people are standing. But I'm just, so.
I'm not disagreeing, I'm
So,
just saying
so
that
I would carry that and just say the wheelchair has to be able to fit there. That's all I would say.
that may be, I mean, but
Yeah,
if it's.
I don't think you can,
know,
based on what
No,
you
it has to
described.
be 30 inches.
Yeah,
A wheelchair is 30.
yeah, no, he said that.
So this is gonna be the first one. Now, are we waiving any of these that are?
I didn't waive anything that was.
Okay, no, I just
For
bring
that
it
reason.
up.
No, I did, I
because,
have not waived anything. In fact, what
So-
I did do, just for, as part of that conversation, a bunch of these on Mulberry were 2.5 feet and 2 feet. And what I did on Mulberry, because we had already gone through Grotto, and with Grotto, we told Grotto we were okay in that section of Mulberry for 11 o'clock instead of the 10 o'clock. They all had outdoor. And with Grotto, we let them keep this sidewalk cafe on Mulberry at that narrow margin, because they also have it on, the cross street that they're on? Is that Grand or Broome that Grotto is on?
Oh,
Okay, so whatever the east-west cross street is, they have a wider sidewalk cafe there. And people they can serve from inside. It's not, it's wide enough for wheelchairs, so they meet the ADA requirement on that sidewalk and don't on the other, but that allows sidewalk seating for somebody. They are the only ones we agreed on that and that. For everybody else, I told Michael Kelly, I said, look, eliminate the side, because he had everybody stand during the 10 o'clock, because he got the word. I said, on this area of Mulberry Street, they all had, most of them had the sidewalk before, they can't do it now. So we're saying 11 o'clock, but the sidewalk's gotta go. Because it's not ADA compliant, and you have to be ADA compliant according to the rules, and so all of those that I waived, there's no sidewalk, he's eliminated the sidewalk.
And
So
those
it's
were the only ones that you waived so far.
There was.
No, we
Pepe
waived a number of
Rosso.
them, but they're all on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they're all up there. Pepe Rosso, I waived, and they're on the agenda. They say waived. I mean, I'm trying to waive as many as I can because
Yeah.
I've already got 23 for next month. And, so how, I can give them.
So there's two arguments, right, that they made, right? And one is that they are ADA accessible, and the reason they are ADA accessible is because they believe roadways.
It's all
are
one
both
thing.
Right, yeah,
same.
right,
But we've been told that they're not.
right.
Because one exists on the public sidewalk, which is flush and grade. And there's one set of regulations for those. And then the second is that the roadway dining has its own set of rules with many variables. But one of the things that's not required is that it's at grade.
Right.
So you're able to have ramps, et cetera, and that it's a totally different
It's a
type of
different type
seating.
of seating.
And we were told if you have to build something new versus something that exists.
It has to be ADA.
Right, and so there seemed to be the manner in which Stella had phrased the question yielded the result that both have to have
Right.
ADA
Right.
access, and then we were also, perhaps, it wasn't clear, but even if you had two sides
Yeah,
of
that,
sidewalk seating, that each side might need to be
Right.
ADA accessible, but that wasn't clear.
that wasn't
either.
as clear.
Well,
And
it's
these
not
are
clear
new-
to people, yeah.
brand new programs so that they're required to be
ADA
ADA,
accessible.
that it's not an old program that
Yeah.
previously existed.
Right.
So that's what we're.
Well, there's no
keep
issue
getting
for
there.
people with the roadbed being ADA. It's just the sidewalk where they were trying to say.
No,
the
well,
old
some
Was
there
how it
are
is now.
for the roadways, and that comes when it's across a bike lane or across
Yeah,
the space.
crazy.
And you have a curvature
Yeah.
in the
You-
road,
you can't
and you
even
have to have a ramp.
believe that,
And we saw that, on Hudson Street with a couple
Yeah.
applications so far.
I mean, I don't know.
They
what-
have a ramp. that
They have a
have to
ramp,
go-
On
but it's,
the- on
but
the
it's
bike
crossing
lane?
a bike lane.
Yeah, well, no, the ramp's not, but you have to cross the
That's the
bike.
bike lane, and somebody's gotta stand out there and police the traffic to stop. So so can
So we have 3 separate applications here.
I think I would like to treat it that
Yeah,
way,
and
so
I
that
think
I'm
we
not
should write
holding
3
up,
resolutions.
I think I'd like
Did
to
they
not
give
do
us 3
that.
notices?
No, they did not give us 3 notices. They gave us,
Well, then we can only deny the notice that includes the expansion on municipal, right? If that's what you want to do.
I mean, I
Is the
certainly
alteration
wanna hear
application,
from
we don't
everybody
have a
else, but I think it's a disservice to the ADA requirement to approve something that is not
ADA, yeah, right.
ADA.
That's
I
right.
mean,
And this is a new chance to have it be right.
right. I mean, for the place on 13th Street, I said to them, you need to come in and remove the sidewalk. It's not ADA compliant, and how are you serving within it? That's an inch difference, so I kind of,
Yeah.
and, you know, the chair can sit right there, and that inch is gonna be there half the time anyway
Right.
and not. So, I mean, that I'm kind of like, oh, okay. But, and they had it before, and I feel bad for them because it got reduced to the 10 feet, you know, the 10, but whatever, so that's a separate. I mean, that's how I feel, but I'm just one on the committee, so.
No, I just don't think we should approve it because it's something that we're stuck to.
We're stuck to.
And also, we've got no response.
Right.
We've tried to investigate this with
Right.
DOT, and they've been unwilling to
Respond.
to
I
my
agree, Donna.
understanding, to engage on that. And if they're not willing to engage on it. then-
I agree.
Okay, so I have to check the notices to be sure. We have to have 2 because one's an I mean, they're both alterations, but one is the municipal expansion and one is the thing, so we're denying less on the expansion of the premises on the interior.
But what's the business name on that?
Parcelle,
So I'm just looking at.
You're gonna look at-
houses.
and if they didn't give us 2, they should give us 2.
Yeah, I only see one, but I also am not looking at that.
You want all
Oh,
this
you gotta look
outdoor?
out of the municipal
and the
expansion
flags
because I
by
put
the
the
pickleball
30-day
players.
notices are in.
You got the regular 30-day notices.
And
It's
you see
so
one there?
true, it's so
Well, I
pathetic.
see one, not for the municipal, it's the other one.
Okay, so then there should be another one
Oh, I
that's
see.
municipal.
Yeah.
So we have 2, correct?
No, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, you did.
Okay, so we'll have to deny the municipal. But when I write the reso, I can say that we are okay with the road bed. With it,
Or, yes, that's one.
or I can
I
ask
would
them,
also ask them.
To give us one for
resubmit-
each?
Yes, one for each.
okay.
Yes.
And that way they can
We
move
can-
forward.
Right.
They can move forward and we can isolate, because I don't want to be punitive to them.
No, I don't either. That's why I was hoping to just, but he, and he's he's understandably upset. I get it. So, okay, so I'll email them and see if we can do that.
How you guys do it?
Okay. That's that one. Next one was Windy Gates, and I'm assuming
That's fine. The only reason we just wanted to make.
we just
sure
wanted
that
to
they
clarify
separated.
that.
Yeah.
the denying less. And I also wanted to say the thing about the host stands, because I think they have that checked off as no on there.
Well, it's somebody shared with me that they aren't doing sidewalk.
Oh,
There.
Yeah, it's not
Just
what
was
it's, which is,
significant. It was-
yeah, no, that's good. Cause it was a little,
I guess the DOT didn't,
wasn't okay with it.
whatever it was, yeah. So,
Okay, next one is our friend. Pickle up.
I mean, what's before us is not,
problem.
does not appear to be a problem. This is for the old space, is that right? So it's because this is 196 and the other one is 196-198.
No,
They're getting
194.
confused. 194 to 196?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think.
so,
I think so, because it's on the.
I mean, I don't know.
East side of it.
and they did
Is it-
not
It's on
have,
the east side of it? No,
No,
it's
no.
not. It's on the west side of it.
Oh, I thought Central Pay was,
Central Pay was west of it.
oh, sorry, okay.
Central
Yes.
Pay is west of it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not sure 194, where does Spring Street? See, that's why these numbers confuse me. Because 194, shouldn't 194 be east of 196? Or do the numbers go the other way? Does
well, I'm
everybody
looking
know
at this
that?
picture. And it's on the south side. And in the picture, there's some pre-loved luxury NYC. So this picture, I believe, is of the old one. This must be the old. That's just, and when I look at the picture facing the other direction, I can see Santa Face Place.
So,
So this is the original picture.
right, okay,
And this is the one that we have had issues with.
right.
And where everybody's finger pointing over who's the bad
Right,
person, who's
yeah.
tables and chairs. But with this diagram, if they conform to this and they don't have tables and chairs on the sidewalk, what is there to say no to?
That's sort of how I feel, and in a way, I feel like
And I think we need to
say
be
no to.
explicit that it doesn't include the open street.
Right. And it closes at 10, we agree to that.
Yeah.
I'll add that about the open streets in its stipulations to make sure those stipulations are clear.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the open streets, it's not very much.
Right.
But we don't know the diagram.
Right.
But because of this transformer vault,
They-
it does create the space.
For them
that
to
they can
serve.
Access to the open street.
So we're denying us with this? Yeah, shock. Shock. I think that's the first time in my years of being on this committee that we have said yes to him.
Well, I think we should put that in there, in the reso, that despite a lot of these complaints and issues, we recognize that the diagram, if it can be followed.
It's an improvement.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right, next one.
Grapple?
Mhm.
Those were pretty straightforward.
Which one was the next one?
The next one was Babel.
Babel.
That had no outside,
Yeah.
that one was fine.
Nothing to say.
The
So
next one after that.
we're denying less
Yeah.
on that. Okay, just want to, next one is Rupa. And Rupa is the one
That's all
with
fine, except
sidewalk.
it's very clear that that front portion, no matter whatever has happened in the past, is not within the property.
Right.
No,
It's just very clearly not the property line, and as a consequence, we can't continue a non-compliant situation.
So it's no.
So it's a no unless they remove,
Unless they remove.
that we're denying it, and that the corrective action to that denial, it's not a denying less. It's a
Right.
denial, but the corrective action is to remove
Platform.
the front area from this application until such time that it's approved by DOT.
Well, wait,
Well,
oh, the front, not the roadbed.
no. The sidewalk, step
Sidewalk
up,
portion.
Right.
step up.
But that needs to be removed. And it just needs to be removed for this application, or there needs to be an application. It needs to be removed because it's not within all they're saying now is within their property line, but it's not, right? We know it's not.
So they need to remove it from the application. And then we'll reconsider.
Well,
I mean,
no, I think we just say that's the corrective action. They can re-notify us that they've removed it. And I think we can rewrite our position, but I don't think it will be called up. unless we write it the right way the first time. We can redo our position, we can amend it because they've corrected, but I don't. We have to.
Okay, so my response to Donald is we are denying the application because of the non-compliant side of it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
If the sidewalk's not in the property line,
Right.
it needs to be removed from the application.
And so if he wants to send us a new notice that does not include the sidewalk.
Right, or a new diagram. The notice, yeah, a new
He needs
diagram,
to send us a,
new notice with the corrected diagram.
So it's all these platforms that have to go.
yeah. Well, he just has to not use them. He doesn't have to clear
Yeah.
them out. He just has to not use them.
I see, right.
So one of the rules, is that it's to be flushed with the sidewalk, but if it's not, the question becomes, do you have to put up a barrier? To make it safe, because if you don't have a chair on the edge with nothing there, you can just fall right off.
Right.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
And then where are they serving from? Then they're serving from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So it's a whole way it doesn't work. So, okay, so we are denying the application. If they want to send a new notification and diagram removing the sidewalk, that would be the corrective. How do I word that? Then we would.
So it would be, okay with that, as long as they adhere to the rest of the stipulations.
Right.
And we should send them a stipulation, since they're removing it from the application.
Okay.
So they,
That covers us both
basically,
directions.
they can have the platform. You're not talking about.
I'm not telling
Yeah,
them.
they can stand there,
They
they
can't
can
use it.
through there.
No, they can't
can't
use
use
the
it at all?
platform. No.
No, because they don't have a DOT sidewalk cafe program.
Okay.
Because it's public property. In order to use the sidewalk or public property, equivalent sidewalk,
Yeah.
you need some sort of a permit from the city.
Remember there was another place.
There's plenty of places.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
A
of
lot of places.
And then we went through this with the one with
Dutch place
with Max
years
with the
ago.
other thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so we are denied. Okay, this is a denial. Okay.
I'm
next
with
one
it.
Is the Andreas,
On trains. Yeah.
West 13th Street. So this one I have a problem with, and you all can, so initially, we don't have, it's the roadbed and the sidewalk. I think we're all good with the roadbed. They did remove their enclosed sidewalk cafe after the deadline, but they did get rid of it. I'm trying not to get into too much these layouts, and if they get approved, it's kind of okay, but I really do not understand how they are serving to these middle tables here. Because it's 2 feet 5 inches. He says his table is about 2 feet 20 inches to 24 inches, I think is what he said.
So is this not reflective of it now, their older picture? It's 2 years ago.
Well,
I mean, just.
it may be reflective of it. It's not actually, because they've made it small where the tables are turned the other way. But they had an 8-foot clearance before, and now they need a 10-foot clearance, and now they need a barrier, and maybe.
So that's
before
why
they
they
need a
turned the
barrier.
tables.
So that's why they've turned the tables. I mean, this is the one where they can get the ADA compliance. Because it's right next to the door there, somebody can go, they've got the 2 spots. I don't know how they're gonna serve within this, and they're not supposed to serve from the sidewalk. They're supposed to have a perimeter and serve from within it.
Impossible.
And I think it's I mean,
Even
the
with turning
only
the table,
reason,
it doesn't create 3 feet or something.
well, even if you only need a foot, he doesn't even have a foot doing that. I mean, he said they can go down 5 inches, because he said they were using a 20-inch table, so he said they could serve within 5 inches. I mean, so I don't know where we wanna land on, because once we do this, we have to carry it through. That's the only thing I'm just raising.
Maybe, and I don't recall us asking him that question.
What question?
But you're saying that you don't think it's possible that you.
No, he said they can do it in 5 inches, and I'm sorry, but I mean, my thigh is bigger than 5 inches. But
in the result.
No, but I mean, it's just,
It's not possible.
it's not feasible. That's the
Even turning
problem.
the table, they just, they're more restricted now.
So, and so we can deny it unless they remove the sidewalk. I mean, again, it's the same situation. I really hate not having them have the roadway. We have no problem with the roadway. So, I can email and just say we're denied unless they remove the sidewalk. Or alternately, give us a separate notice for each one. And then I have to write 2 resolutions the same way to the other guy for Parcelle.
And see if they can
And
get the
then,
sidewalk.
and then we deny the sidewalk and we approve the roadway. Does that sound reasonable? Is that, Carter, do you have anything to say about that? Is
Yeah,
that,
well, the road that's.
I mean,
fine.
if they'll just, yeah. Okay. So are we denying less with the deny? And
So it's
the-
interesting because places that think their sidewalk is fine are finding out their sidewalks aren't fine.
Well, they're finding out from us. Again, the
Yeah,
hardest
that's
point,
what I
they're
mean,
not
yeah.
finding out from DOT isn't
Yeah.
giving them any
That's
guidance
why they're
on
so
that. And
upset.
it's, you know, and I totally get it. So we're denying less on the road, deny sidewalk. Okay. Next one is Oliver. He's been there forever. It's sidewalk and roadway. He did a nice speech, I must say. Good to see you.
About Las Vegas, he's moved to Las Vegas.
So he had an unrestricted license before, so that was until what, 12 and 1, I guess. So he doesn't want to restrict it, so that would put him till 12 now.
Well, I mean, his point of not arrest,
Right.
But
everything's not the
absent
same.
that, absent, before you even get to that, and that's a good thing, right? But this space already had the usage outside. And we've said with many of the other applications, he just doesn't have an explicit restriction.
Right.
He has nothing. So the question becomes, why would he accept a restriction on what he was doing before that wasn't problematic except to one person?
I mean, it's not
Yeah,
like we've heard
that's right.
complaints about this. It's not, it doesn't. I mean, I'm just gonna speak to myself personally. I had never heard of, I didn't know where this was until it came to the outdoor dining working group. And we
Yeah.
get a lot of complaints
don't-
about places in
yeah,
that area, and I never,
Because
I
it
don't
has a
recall why.
narrow front.
But it's also because we didn't get any complaints.
True. And
I
it's not a
mean,
big
because these
spread out
complaints
place. that
happened
Jack's
before
right
my
there. Yeah.
time.
And these, and the complaints that
I
we even
see.
just saw, like, they don't show some grossly operated business. They
Yeah.
show what was allowed there for years.
Actually, what I'm going
You
to,
know, with the 4 tables and chairs with the bench along,
Right.
that's what's always been
Always
there.
been,
That's
yeah.
what's built there. The bench is
Yeah.
built
built
to
in.
the building,
So we
so.
just got the letter from Georgette, right? That's the only one.
Well,
Laura
Laura
wrote too,
wrote too.
But what she showed was just the sidewalk Ketchup
Right.
with an orange cone there, which is also, I mean, that's.
Well, and I think
Same.
what people were doing also, which I kind of liked what he said, I said, well, the hatch, he said, well, I've been operating the way I've been operating all during COVID. He didn't know that he was supposed to be conforming to the new rules. He thought once he got
Right.
done with this process, he had to be conforming to the new rules.
Yeah, so that was fair.
So he right away said, yes, I'm serving on the hatch. He
Yeah.
wasn't trying to say that he was, so
Right.
are we?
Wasn't hiding anything.
So, yeah, he said he won't, but I mean, everybody's doing, I'm just.
Everyone's catching up.
Yes.
So
So-
it's just in this case, that's what he's been doing.
Right.
And,
And he's been there
and I don't,
forever.
and
remove the
this is
chair.
on this is a commercial thoroughfare.
Yeah.
It's it's in a open area that has other places. There are other restrictions on
Right.
places.
Right.
That have
They
come
came later
later.
along the way.
That have come
More
much later,
recently.
but it's. And we've heard many complaints, in fact, which have resulted in other, decisions from this committee, but
Mm-hmm.
frankly, they're not, like, sustainable complaints. You know, that, and even at the outdoor dining group, we had the